What is going on, movie fans? Back at it with another movie video. I haven't done one of these reviews actually before on a newer movie. Greg and myself, my brother, we started this channel during the pandemic. There was no new movies coming out. We kind of took a break from the channel due to the fact that Greg was getting married and due to the fact that I had a lot to do on my sports channel, which is where a lot of you guys came from. But back at it. We've never done one of these movie reviews for before. I'm sure we're going to get better in terms of the format and everything else as we go along. But we're going to try our best. This is our second take, actually. The first one was just way too long, and I felt like I was just recapping the movie too much. But there's going to be some spoilers. I don't think you could review this movie without having any spoilers at all.
A lot of spoilers.
And in the end, we'll give our full opinion of what we thought about the movie. We'll go over the things that we liked, that we didn't like. I'll try to be as unbiased as I can because I absolutely loved it. But Greg, what's going on, man?
How are we doing today?
Now, the first thing I want to speak on, and I think it really can impact the way that you feel about a movie. We went to two different movie theaters when we saw this.
Yes.
My movie theater was very rowdy. Like, they were clapping at everything. As soon as the movie started, it was loud. It was, and obviously on, times throughout the movie that we'll talk on some, things that really hit home with us. It was very rowdy. You, from what you said,
my movie theater was everything but rowdy. It was just quiet. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a couple points in the movie where people gasped and stuff, but there was no eruption of cheering at any point during the movie, which I was surprised at because I do feel like there was points in this movie where there probably should have been, especially on opening night where you get all the real fans out there.
You had the Spider-Man outfits, though, I'm sure, right?
Not one Spider-Man outfit.
You went to the wrong movie theater.
Yeah,
I had tons of Spider-Man outfits.
No Spider-Man outfits. I almost broke out my spandex.
But let's jump into it. This is obviously the third movie of the new installment with Tom Holland obviously starring as Spider-Man, directed by John Watts. Like I said, Tom Holland plays Spider-Man. Zendaya is back as MJ. Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange, who obviously plays a major part in this movie. Marissa Tomei as Aunt May. William Dafoe is back, who is absolutely terrific in this movie as the Green Goblin. And Alfred Molina as Doc Ock. In addition to that, there's spoilers, guys. I'm sorry, I said it in the title, but in addition to that, you got the previous Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire, is back along with Andrew Garfield. We'll talk briefly about how they get implemented into the movie and how that I think is definitely one of the big pluses of this movie. But we'll just talk briefly about how the movie starts and then talk about some of the things we like and don't like with the movie. It starts how the last movie left off.
Everybody knows he's Peter Parker, and you get the golden child J. Jonah Jameson back into the movie, played by J.K. Simmons, who is just the best. He's the best casted thing in any superhero movie ever, and I wanted to touch on that for a second, how good it is just to have him, that character, and the actor back playing him.
As Jonah Jameson. I mean, it just gives you those, because I remember when I grew up as a kid watching Spider-Man, I loved the cartoon. I absolutely loved it, and he portrays that so well. He's like perfect.
He's perfect for it. It looks perfect for it and everything. It's perfect, spot on. He's back. I mean, don't get me wrong, he got back in the extra scene of the last one, but he's back. He's awesome. It's great. Just wanted to touch on that.
Yeah, no, he was absolutely terrific. And, obviously then it transcribes, he finds out that it's not just affecting his life, it's affecting his, MJ's life, his best friend's life, Ned, and he goes to Doctor Strange, which is where this movie really develops in terms of the overall storyline, where he tells Strange, can you make it so everybody forgets who I am? And then as he does his spell, he quickly realizes, I don't know if I want MJ to forget who I am and everybody else. And that, that ends up screwing up the spell, which opens up the opportunity for all these villains to enter the movie.
Yeah, that's pretty much, it's the setup point for this. And then where's that lead to? After that leads to
battle scene with Doc Ock.
That Doc Ock fight at the beginning is really good. The first Doc Ock fight, and it ends with like the Goblin coming in and they get cut off right as the bomb's coming in and sucked back in. That first fight with Doc Ock, where it's the Iron Spider suit with the extra 4 arms fighting him, that was really good. I really like that scene a lot.
That was a great scene.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And that scene only really takes place because Spider-Man is trying to track down the college council to try to get
try to get back into it.
And the most ironic thing I'm thinking about it as I'm talking to you, the most ironic thing about that scene is you find out he would have never had to put the spell on to begin with because they would have probably gotten accepted into college after he talked to her.
Well, I mean, by the time we found out about it, it was a little more complicated.
Of course, it was too complicated.
But no, it wouldn't have happened because Doc Ock wouldn't have been there.
Yeah, that's right, because he ends up saving her life, and then she says, "You know what? I'm gonna make sure they get into college anyway." But yeah, obviously that scene is terrific. But I don't want to do too much of a breakdown of the entire movie. But one thing leads to another. They end up capturing all the superheroes. But the one thing supervillains rather. But the one thing that I really want to touch on is that point after they're all captured. He has the option. He's about to, Doctor Strange, send them all back to their old worlds in which they would be dead, because obviously all these characters died in the previous Spider-Man movies. And like you see throughout the movie, and I think one of the biggest points of this movie is giving people a second chance, which is obviously highlighted by Aunt May. Spider-Man steps in and he says, "No, we're not going to do this. I'm gonna try to find another alternative to have these guys have an opportunity to live their lives, back in their previous worlds, rather than just pressing a button and having them all die."
Exactly.
Which is really the role that I think the biggest purpose for Aunt May. You see that with the Green Goblin earlier in the movie when he comes in and Spider-Man's just looking to capture the guy and he walks him in. And I think it brings out, I guess, like the kindness to Spider-Man's character. And then I think
it's a classic idea where the superhero doesn't kill somebody. It's that, Batman.
Yeah, he goes above and beyond to do the right thing.
Exactly.
And then Defoe's is just so good in this movie, Greg.
Yeah, Defoe's awesome in this, not gonna lie. Him and Alfred Molina, probably more so Defoe, though. Defoe was phenomenal.
He's so good. And I was just thinking about his character development throughout it when he switches to the Green Goblin in that apartment scene. I know you got some complaints with Jamie Foxx.
Yeah, we'll go into the complaints after this.
But the Green Goblin's character is just so good, and he manipulates the villains, because at that point the villains almost want to do.
Villains almost willing to be.
They're willing to be brought back to their old form before they were villains, but the Green Goblin manipulates them into going back to their old ways, which is what really sets up, eventually the final battle scene and inevitably Aunt May's death.
Oh my God, it was terrible.
So, which is to me probably the highlight of the movie in terms of the most surprising scene and the scene that really makes you the most emotionally invested.
Let's be honest, it was the only surprise in the movie.
That's your biggest complaint. See, here's my issue, Greg. I get that. Well, this is, and by the way, you're not going to get typical movie reviews on this channel. You're going to get some back and forth. Where Greg and myself disagree at times. So your biggest complaint after seeing this movie was there was not any surprises outside of Aunt May.
Here's
my issue with that, Greg. Here's my issue with that. You can't. In my opinion, you can't knock a movie because the trailer showed you a few things.
Let me tell you something. They could have not released a trailer, not even released a poster. They could have just put on a Facebook post someplace that this movie was coming out on this day at this time, and it would have sold just as many tickets as it did with them releasing the trailer. That showed that these people, they were like, every one of these should have been a big reveal, or at least some of them. Show Doc Ock and the Goblin in the trailer, and then bring back the other ones to get a little bit of a surprise. Or that the only thing that you didn't like, okay, maybe they didn't show the Spider-Man in the trailer, but it was just known. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not their fault that that's the way it played out, but that's 100% how it played out this movie. Like the Spider-Man coming back, that scene should have been like a huge surprise, and it wasn't. Everybody expected it.
Yeah, but that scene was so well done.
And then when they give you all that stuff, when you kind of like going into the movie, kind of expect a little bit extra. Be like, you got Daredevil in it, but maybe you get Daredevil in his costume at one scene, or maybe they bring Kingpin in like they just did in Hawkeye this week. Maybe they work in a couple of these other characters, or like Kirsten Dunst from the older Spider-Man movies as MJ's, characters like that you're not really fully expecting, the way you were expecting Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire and William Dafoe and all these people, where in the trailer, if they didn't show any of this, it would have been like massive reveals, as opposed to the whole movie based. You knew exactly what you were getting when you went into it. Don't get me wrong, it was awesome. I'm very happy with the movie. I just wish that I didn't know that all these people were coming back in hindsight. And I'm a spoiler guy. I got nothing against spoilers. Maybe that's the reason it's bothering me this much, because I didn't look up the spoilers on this, and this one I might as well have.
That's not her. I still love the movie. I knew the Spider-Man were going to be in it. I knew Doc Ock was going to be in it. Doesn't bother me at all. I still was, I still was surprised at how much they used the Spider-Man. I didn't think that I thought it was going to be maybe a small cameo similar to Ghostbusters. And to me, the highlight of the movie, or one of the highlights, was how well the Spider-Man played off each other, the dialogue, the humor that came out of
Yeah,
it.
no, it was awesome. When they were
Um,
talking about the web shooters and stuff like that, the web shooters are supposed to the web fluid coming out of his arm. It
The
was
two
really
main plot holes for me, though, Greg, the two main plot holes for me, and again, it doesn't bother me. I'm not one of these guys that because of little plot holes, it's going to bother me. I still absolutely love everything about this movie and wish they didn't change a single thing because I love it for what it is. But the two main plot holes for me, one, why did Spider-Man feel like he had to manipulate the whole world just so his girlfriend essentially could go to college? That's the way I looked at it. And I know that he knew it was affecting the lives around him. So I guess you could like nitpick at that at the beginning. And then the other one is that scene where they bring the Spider-Man in. And again, this is kind of a minor thing, which the scene was absolutely terrific. My theater erupted when Andrew Garfield walked through the portal, and then Tobey Maguire, of course. And the humor from within that scene is great, where he's hanging off the wall and cleaning up the cobwebs,
yeah, very funny.
playing off each other as they're discovering that they're both Spider-Man. They both shoot the webs at one another, and they kind of do the same thing. That whole scene was terrific. But my issue with that is a little bit of a plot hole here, Greg, where they come to the conclusion when they realize they have to find Tom Holland that they have to look at the building. Like he says, "Oh, I was always on the Empire State Building. I was always on the Chrysler Building." Where is it that Tom Holland goes where he has to think, where he's upset? How do they know he's upset? Yes, I know on the TV that they saw a big explosion, but they don't know Aunt May's dead. For all they know, Spider-Man's out chasing the bad guys still. So that to me is a main plot hole. Like they could have just opened up
How
another
about what about with the portals?
and looked for him.
What about with the portals? Ned's opening these portals, no problem, with no training whatsoever. And then they're closing behind him. But then later on in the movie, during the final battle, he can't reclose the portal where the lizard runs through. Remember that at the end?
Yeah.
Of the movie? What's going on with these portals? Like
That's fair. He's a little inexperienced, and it added to the movie, I guess. But yeah, that's fair for sure. But again, that's nitpicky, whatever. Like you said earlier, you're gonna have things like that.
no, yeah.
When
And
you
the other one's Electro comes back, and all of a sudden, Jamie Foxx is cool. Jamie Foxx in Amazing Spider-Man 2 was a nerd. Don't get me wrong, I have nothing against him. I'm a nerd, but he was like this little nerdy guy, had this weird hairstyle, and all these
wasn't
other
his
villains
teeth
come back.
messed up too, or something like that? Wasn't his teeth or something messed up in the
Well, I don't know if his teeth were messed up. He wore glasses. He had like this weird hairstyle. No, he was like a really nerdy guy. It was like
They didn't poke fun at it though.
No, yeah, they poked fun at it, but it was like no explanation. No, everybody else comes back the same way. Green Goblin comes back, he still got a split personality. Freaking whatever. Doc Ock comes back, this thing's still mind controlling him. Jamie Foxx comes back cool. Jamie Foxx comes back looking really cool. Like I don't know, he's got like a perm down, not perm. He's got a really nice haircut, and I don't know. There was no explanation to it. They did poke fun of it at one point, but it threw me off a little bit.
Yeah. But then one of my favorite scenes is right after that, where they track down Tom Holland, and that's where you really get to see, at least in my opinion, the role that Tobey Maguire and Andy Garfield have in terms of the character development of Tom Holland. Tom Holland at that point basically has turned to the dark side. Like he's like, I want to kill all of them. I'm ready to send them back. Give me the box. I'm going to press the button. I don't care anymore. And then Tobey Maguire says, listen, that happened to me in the past. It's not worth it. You're not going to get any satisfaction out of killing these people. You're better off trying to do the right thing and trying to do what you were initially looking out to do. And basically what your Aunt May told you to do is to always try to find the good in people and always try to, make the best out of a bad situation, rather than doing that. And basically to me, Tobey Maguire and Andy Garfield in this movie were almost like father figures to the younger Spider-Man.
Yeah, definitely came across that way, telling him, you're going to find your MJ and, stuff like that. Well, yeah, 100%. There were his guiding light.
Yeah, there was guiding light. And then at the end of the movie, same thing. Tobey Maguire steps in, make sure he doesn't kill him. And then to me, we didn't talk so much about MJ. I think she's absolutely terrific in this movie, start to finish. I thought she was very good in the other ones, but I thought her character advanced a lot more in this movie. And that scene at the end where, obviously the romantic scene where, she says she finally tells him that she loves him, and then he goes to tell her back, and she says, no, tell me when you find me, because she knows that she's about to forget who he is, because they put the spell, he has to put the spell on, and the ultimate sacrifice that Peter Parker makes to make sure that the world stays intact is now he's essentially going to be a loner. Nobody knows who he is. He's no longer an Avenger. He's becoming his own man, but by doing so, he's giving up everything. He's giving up his friends. He's giving up his girlfriend, everything. They're not going to know who he is. And I thought that scene was absolutely terrific. And again, I don't want to skip over like I did the last time we did this, the Andy Garfield scene as well, which I thought was one of the probably the high, if not the highlight, one of the 2 or 3 highlights. Obviously, Aunt May's death
Aunt May's death was devastating.
devastating and
Devastating.
completely unexpected.
You lost Marissa Tomei. That's always rough.
You lose Marissa Tomei, and that whole scene was obviously very emotional as well. But the Garfield scene where he finally gets to be the hero that he was unable to be to the love of his life with Gwen Stacy in his installment, how he was able to save obviously MJ I thought was absolutely terrific.
She was awesome in it. I love that actress. She's good in everything. I liked her in the last Spider-Man movie a lot too. The first one she didn't have as big of a part, but I like her a lot. But I mean, I hope we see her again. That's one of the big problems with this movie. At the end, also, it's like now what? Now I got emotionally connected to all these characters. I don't know when I'm going to see these guys again.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, he has the option to try to do what he told her he was going to do and tell her that he loves her. But he, again, makes another sacrifice. He sees that her life is better without him in it, that she's getting the opportunity to go to college, that his friend Ned's getting to go to college.
Would you rather see Spider-Man somehow return in the MCU and continue with the Avengers, or would you rather see him go and do battle with some of these people?
No, I think, Greg, and this is the way I looked at Spider-Man's character before this movie. I looked at him almost as like Tony Stark Jr. Like he wasn't his own man. Like Tony Stark was his father figure. Now in this movie, the older Spider-Men are essentially his father figure. And now at the end, he's become his own man. He's not a part of the Avengers anymore. He's what he's supposed to be. He's the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. He's now his character. I felt like he wasn't Spider-Man before this movie. He was like trying to figure out who Spider-Man was.
I get what you're saying with that, but it's we've invested so much time into this MCU universe, like 26 movies or wherever we're at now, and it's like this major character is the focal point of it. They're saying he's getting taken out of it. It's really gonna bother me.
No, I actually heard a rumor otherwise that they're gonna make 3 new ones in the college setting.
Yeah, but that's not with him. That's gonna be that's with him? Oh, maybe you're right. Actually,
I think I'm right.
Yeah,
I'm right. I think it's going to involve Tom Holland. I think. But regardless, the movie itself, for me, and then I'll let you give your opinion, it had everything I could have wanted. They bring back the new Spider-Man. I thought the action scenes were great. The villains, could you nitpick here and there? Yeah. But overall, great cameos. I thought the way that they used the Spider-Man, the dialogue between them made the movie. The character development was absolutely terrific with Spider-Man. I love the way that it left off. And yeah, man, I think it lived up to everything you could have expected. Now you're going to have people that nitpick and knock the movie, but for me, I'm going to see it again. Hell, I might see it today. I thought it was the movie, probably the movie of the year in terms of a blockbuster. And it definitely
Ghostbusters.
I freaking love Ghostbusters, but we're not doing a review of Ghostbusters. But I would say I'm going to give it like a 9.5 out of 10. It's everything that I could have wanted in a movie.
A 9.5 out of 10.
9.5 out of 10. And now I'm not. It's a different scale than if I'm reviewing a movie like Godfather, for example. But for the niche that it's in, yeah, I think it's one of the better Marvel movies ever made.
I mean, I agree. Okay, I feel the movie made. I think the plot was good. I don't have really too many problems. The plot was good. The bringing back characters was great. The way the characters played off each other was great. I just wish that there was a couple of surprises. I really wish, and I'm the last person to say that. I spoil things for myself all the time, but I feel like this one had like the potential to have. If nobody who went to see this movie already at this point, we're reviewing it. It's been out for less than 24 hours. Not one person who went to see that movie didn't expect for those Spider-Men to come out and for all those villains to be in it. That's just a fact. Everybody knew this.
Yeah, the only true surprise, like you said, was Aunt May.
Yeah, Aunt May dying was a surprise.
But I think seeing how they used,
I don't know if I can punish the movie for that. The movie itself was done extremely well. Everybody was great in their parts. William Dafoe stole the movie. Alfred Molina was fantastic. Jamie Foxx was even really good. They were all extremely good. It's just I don't know. It felt If it just felt like I knew too much about it before
Was
I
there,
saw
all
it.
right, one complaint I'm hearing from a lot of people is there was too much fan service. Did you? I didn't feel that way. I felt like they did it well, like it was well integrated. I didn't think that there was too much.
I mean, it's the plot of the movie is fan service, so it's
That's
kind
what
of
we
hard.
want as fans.
Yeah, I'm saying the plot of the movie is fan service. The idea of putting the three Spider-Man together, which maybe they didn't say it, but everybody knew that's what it was, or even just bring the villains back. That in itself was fan service. So to say there was too much fan service in a movie where its plot
That was baked
centralizes
in.
around.
You knew it going in.
Yeah, exactly. It's a movie. It's central. The plot of the whole movie was fan service. So I don't know if you can really say that.
Give me a mark out of
Obviously.
10. Give me a mark out of 10.
Huh?
Out of 10.
Not a 10. I'm gonna give it like an 8. Yeah, I know you're devastated. An 8.
No, Greg's a hard grade.
Is it as good as Infinity War was?
To me,
Come on.
compare the two. Infinity War is like on steroids. It has everybody in it. This is just the Star Wars realm.
This wasn't on steroids. This wasn't.
No, it was
every Spider-Man villain.
Not Star Wars, Spider-Man realm. It's Spider-Man on steroids, but it's not literally everybody. Like
okay, but Infinity War was. But
Infinity War, the ending, we all know, incredible.
Yeah. Infinity War had that because you didn't really expect. Let me tell you something. In Infinity War, I did the opposite. In Infinity War, I forget what time I saw it, but let's say I went to an 8:00 showing at like 7:48. I went on my phone and read the spoilers to the end of Infinity War and saw everything that died. And you know what? Even with ruining it, I still respect the fact that they did something ballsy like that. This Spider-Man movie was a very safe movie for most.
But that, to me, Greg, is going to be the problem, not just with this Spider-Man movie. It's going to be the problem with, and we'll see how they do it, at least the way I feel, most Marvel movies going forward, now that you're opening up this multiverse. Because there's going to be no, even if a guy dies, you'll just be like, oh, they'll just bring him back with another
10,000 other ones. Yeah, no
with
problem.
10,000 other ones. So that to me is going to be the challenge that Marvel's going to have going forward. This was really the first movie where they really utilized the multiverse, and it's going to be interesting to see what they do in the new obviously the new Doctor Strange, which they showed the trailer at the end. So definitely
my God, Doctor Strange, I'm fired up.
Definitely stick around for that. But I think we both loved it. We just loved it to different extents.
I loved it just as much as you did. I'm just disappointed with the fact that so much, like, it was exactly what it should have been. I just wish that I didn't feel that it should have been that way until after I saw it.
But we appreciate all you guys for sticking around for the 22-minute review. Hopefully you guys already saw it. Like I said in the trailer, there's spoilers.
We didn't see it. I'm sorry.
But I'm really looking forward to talking a lot more with Greg about a lot more movies. We're going to try to do this a lot more frequently, at least once, twice a week. We both go to a lot of movies. There's a lot of good movies coming out.
Matrix.
Hopefully get some trailer reactions up as well for you guys. We got to stay on top of that with the scheduling with new movies coming out. We'll review some trailers as we watch them together. I think that'd be a lot of fun to do with Greg as well. But thank you guys. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're movie fans. Maybe we'll even try to do some live streams like we've done in the past, once a week or bi-weekly, whatever it may be. But thank you guys for everything. Thank you guys for being the best supporters on YouTube. And as always, if you liked what you watched, please subscribe, drop a comment, maybe give us a little thumbs up.
There you go.
There you go.